Falling into the sunken place. Hello and welcome to Seismic Cinema. We are two friends, would we say, Paul?
Well, I'd hope so.
Yeah, two friends who
Maybe
like
not after these shows.
who like to talk about movies and TV shows. For any audio listeners, I was stirring a cup of tea. Well, there's not actually any tea in it, and Paul was falling into the sunken place. So hopefully you can guess what we're going to review. The movie Nope, and that is the actual title of the film, is coming out soon, directed and written by Jordan Peele. And we've decided, because we've not really spoke about Us yet, but Get Out was a movie that I personally really loved, and hopefully you did too. And Us was the follow-up to that. The films aren't related as such, it's just the same director. And then Nope, is coming out on the 22nd of July. So we're going to review Get Out today, look at all the hidden details and all the foreshadowing, and then we'll be talking about Us next week. You looking forward to it, Paul?
Yeah, looking forward to it. I actually did a bit of rewatch. I rewatched it this afternoon after I got home from work. So I'm kind of clued up again because I forgot a hell of a lot. I've still to watch Us, and judging by everyone's kind of general consensus is it's not as good as this, but I'm keeping an open mind about it.
I've only watched it once. I don't remember it being bad. Just obviously, if you're comparing it, I think if you go into it not comparing it to Get Out, then
yeah,
you might enjoy it
I've
more.
heard it's just a bit confusing as well. But other than that, looking forward to it. And I'm not sure what I make of Nope. It sounds like a weird title that isn't appealing, but I don't know.
I think he definitely deserves a chance based on this film. And did you know this was Jordan Peele's directorial debut?
I did. But see, when it first came out and they're saying, "Oh, Jordan Peele's first film," I totally forgot who Jordan Peele was, and I was like, "Who's Jordan Peele?" But yeah, I watched the Key and Peele show quite a lot on YouTube, like different clips and stuff like that, and I didn't put two and two together and realize it was him. So yeah, it's good because he's such a funny guy. So it's funny seeing him do a psychological horror.
I watched a few interviews with him when he was talking about debunking and agreeing with some of the fan theories about this movie. And there is so much detail, so we probably shouldn't waste any time getting into it. I've decided I'm sick of not knowing the names of characters and actors, so I've actually done a wee bit of prior prep before this one. So the movie came out in January 2017. And I thought I went to see it with you, but you seem to say I didn't. I thought maybe you and... Did we see this together? Can you remember?
In the words of Jordan Peele, nope.
Oh, okay.
I watched it in my house way after it came out. I never watched it when it first came out.
Yeah, I saw it in the cinema, and I've got the DVD, and I have watched it so many times. It had a budget of $4.5 million, okay? But it made $255.4 million at the box office.
So it done not too shabby.
A net profit, I should get my terms right as a business teacher, 1.24 point something, I can't read my writing, net profit they made. And it was also, the Writers Guild said it was the greatest screenplay of the 21st century.
Is this the first time we've done a podcast and we've actually spat out raw facts?
Yeah, I think so.
Usually we just make up things like, "Oh, this is actual factual now. We're actual serious."
No, I just thought it added a nice wee touch to the start. So do you think we should do just a very brief overview of the plot before we delve into all the small details, just for anyone who needs a wee refresher?
Sure, aye. Well, because you love this movie so much, you'll do it more justice than I will.
We won't do our mistake we've made a few times where we talk in detail about the whole film. It will just be a paint by numbers.
A brief summary.
Yes. One thing I want to say, just while I was waiting on yourself, and you're quite prompt. Well, sort of quite prompt. I was looking at the trailer for the film, and I don't know if you've seen it, but the trailer literally gives away all the secrets and all the plot. So
Oh, does it?
I'm really watch it after this podcast. And I'm really glad I didn't see it beforehand because it literally ruins the film.
Does it? Right, okay. Because I was wondering, because see, when I was watching it, now knowing what you know, it's funny seeing it again. And yeah, I know what you mean.
It doesn't like tell you absolutely everything, but once you've seen it and you look at the trailer, it literally gives away so much of the game.
Yeah.
So anyway, brief summary. Chris Washington, who is played by Daniel Kaluuya. Is that how you say his name? Does that sound right?
Is that not a liqueur?
Well, apologies for the pronunciation, but that's how I think it was. So Chris has got a girlfriend called Rose, and they're going to visit Chris's. No, not Chris's. I need to get this right. Rose's parents. Rose's parents for the weekend, and Chris is black and Rose is white, and that's a big plot point in the film. And Chris is quite nervous about meeting Rose's family. I don't know whether he's had any experiences in the past of not being accepted because of the color of his skin, but he's really quite nervous about going. They go up for the weekend. Everyone seems quite nice, but there's a wee bit of an undercurrent, could we say? And
Absolutely.
yeah, and everyone's acting a bit weird towards him. And there's a groundskeeper and a housekeeper who act a bit strange as well. And there's a big party. And to skip to the end, so we don't have to go through the whole thing, it turns out this family has been either abducting or Rose has been like dating these black people, and because there's one female as well, and the dad is a neurosurgeon, and he is removing the brains of rich white friends and then putting their brains into the bodies. And yeah, I think that's a decent enough shortened version of what goes down.
Yeah.
And Rose is obviously in on it because she's the one that's getting all these people to come up to the house.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know. One of the main things I thought about it was, see Rose herself. Like, see, right up until it's revealed that she's in on it. Did you think she was in on it?
I saw it for the first time so long ago now that I don't think I did at the time.
Yeah, because I was watching it. The first time I was watching it, I was like, no, she's genuinely wanting to help him. Once they find out what's going on, they find out that there's more to it than meets the eye, and Chris wants to escape to the family retreat. I was like, she's definitely on his side. She wants to help him escape. Even this time around, rewatching it and knowing what's happening, she acts it so well. Like, she acts concerned and like empathetic and stuff. Like, I'm still thinking, oh, is she genuinely want to help him? You know what I mean? It's just like she acts it so well that that she's actually on his side, which I thought was really good.
Yeah, she does. What's quite interesting when you do know what's happening, when I was doing the rewatch yesterday, there's things that she does that make her seem like a really committed, caring girlfriend. But when you know what's happening, they actually have a sinister side. You know, when they're driving out,
Mm-hmm.
and he goes to take a cigarette out, and she basically chucks it away.
Yeah.
He's obviously pretending that she just cares about his health as her boyfriend. But really, and quite a lot of the characters make a big deal about the smoking. They just want him to be in the best physical condition because he's basically a product to them.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I thought when I rewatched it as well. That I never picked up on it until the second time around.
Yeah.
They're just wanting to keep him in peak physical condition.
Yeah, and there's other ones as well. In that same scene, it's not about Rose, but when she's no, it is about Rose actually. You know when the police officer is going to take his details, even though he wasn't driving.
Mm-hmm.
She's pretending that she's standing up for him because there could have been accusations of racism on behalf of the police officer, but she doesn't want a record of him being in the area, so
Oh yeah.
he doesn't get classed as missing.
I didn't even think about that. That's yeah. Until you said that, there, that's quite a good point because I was just thinking that she was just acting really well to kind of stick up for him. But that's a good point. I never even thought of that.
Because it was in the news that the Hayworth guy, the guy that has the
Dre.
nose, yeah, it was in the news that he was missing. So if Chris had went missing too, then it would obviously be linked back to there.
Yeah.
And obviously the police officer is actually a good guy essentially because he probably heard about people going missing up there and is on the lookout for it.
Are they going missing from up there though, or are they just?
Well, maybe not, but I don't know. Maybe he'd seen something that linked them because obviously it does come out later that the Hayworth guy is up there.
Yeah, yeah. And he's the one who got snatched at the start.
Yeah. So when I first watched the opening scene, I was like, I can't remember how this links back to the film, but then I quickly remembered that that was him. And I think the Jeremy, who's Rose's brother, he's the one that's obviously doing the snatching.
Yeah, because it's his car and his knight's
mask.
helmet. He wears, yeah,
Yeah.
and he chokes him out like he tries to do at the dinner table.
So that's a natural interlude into talking about Jeremy, Rose's brother. Quite a character.
Yeah, he's a bit of a creep, isn't he?
So the first scene when we meet him, he's obviously asking Chris questions about like UFC and, as you said, or not. Well, he does that at the start of the film, but he also tries to fight Chris in what's to be considered a playful manner. But I think it's quite obvious that he was the one, he wanted Chris's body.
Yeah, aye.
Because I think he actually bids for it in the bidding
The silent auction.
and isn't successful.
All right, okay, I've never seen that. Yeah, because Jeremy has got no chill whatsoever, does he? Like the mum and dad are playing the part pretty easy, and then Jeremy's just like creepy, starey, talking all weird and stuff. And it's just he's the first kind of red flag, isn't he? Is he the first red flag?
Well, that happens quite often in movies. There's like a sibling that's just a bit crazy.
Oh, yeah.
So that obviously that bit there links into what happens at the party, and a lot of the guests are making weird comments and asking weird questions of Chris and like touching his arm and different things like that. That bit's quite enlightening, I think, in terms of what's going on.
Yeah, like when I first watched it, I was just thinking they're being really weird, and then rewatched them. Like you're watching it, going, "Wow, they're sizing him up. They're like, just basically evaluating him for the bid."
Yeah, because there was a bit where one of the woman touches his arm. She's basically like feeling his biceps, and then her husband's basically sitting there like salivating over him because he's obviously after his body. That was quite was a disturbing movie in general, but I found that sequence quite tough. Not tough to watch, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, cringy.
Because there was the bit where the other guy was talking about like Tiger Woods and he was wanting to see his golf swing.
Yeah,
things like that as well.
and it's just assuming that Chris is interested in Tiger Woods just because he's black.
There was the bit, I don't know if you noticed it, is it Hayworth, where he goes to fist bump him, but then he goes to shake his hand.
Yeah,
because obviously it's an elderly man inside the body.
Yeah, it's it's very enlightening the second time around watching it. I think it's one of these films you need to watch twice just to catch everything.
I think that's why I like it so much. Foreshadowing is one of my favorite elements of film, and this was actually number 3 on my movie ranking.
Oh, was it?
Yeah, I do very highly regard it. There's other bits of that party scene as well, because when the dad, who is named, it's useful having the names written down. The dad,
Dean.
who's called Dean, he mentioned it as like a party for his parents. So see, when the party guests are arriving, did you notice that it was Walter, the groundkeeper, he was like greeting people out the cars and shaking their hands.
I did not. I missed that.
Because the guests are all their friends.
Yeah, yeah.
Because they're obviously a lot older than Dean and Missy is the mum's name.
Yeah. So see the grandpa. Is that the one that was in the video, like the kind of induction video?
The video is the gran and the grandpa, and then the parents and the wee kids are obviously Rose and Jeremy. So yeah, so he's obviously greeting all his old friends. So we haven't actually mentioned that yet explicitly, but the groundskeeper is called Walter, and he is the vessel essentially for the grandpa Armitage, and the housekeeper Georgina, is it?
Georgina.
Is the grandmother. And the first time I watched it, it was a bit of a reveal in the car that she was the grandmother.
Yeah, I didn't like. Sorry, on you go.
It's really obvious the however many times I've watched this now.
Yeah, I didn't like it though. How like when Chris runs over the grandma when he's escaping and then puts her in the car to save her. I didn't like how Rose came out with the gun and was like, "Oh, grandma." I'd rather like we were left to figure it out that it was a grandma instead of her just explicitly saying, "Oh, that's grandma. She's going to be bad."
Yeah. I am still. I think I've mentioned this to you before. She absolutely terrifies me. Like the actress does a really good job. She's just utterly terrifying in all of her scenes.
Who, the Georgina?
Aye, she's terrifying.
Aye.
Oh yeah.
I thought she played the part well, right enough. I liked like how there was wee breadcrumbs to who they were, because like the grandpa was a sprinter, and you see see Walter sprinting during the night in the middle of the night for no reason.
Yeah, that was quite funny, that bit, wasn't it?
And Georgina, like she talks in like old timey kind of talk.
Yeah.
Like when Chris was talking about snitching and stuff, and she's like, "What snitching? Do you mean tattletale?"
Yeah. That's where the whole thing came from, because the grandpa got beat by, I can't remember what the
Jesse
Owens, and that was what created this desire to have the peak physical condition.
Oh, sorry, my dog is scratching at the door.
I think a good bit to talk about is...
Try to get in.
Do we need to pause?
Nah, it's all right. What's up?
A good bit to talk... Oh.
And we have a break in. Oh, no, anyway, never mind. On you go. Sorry.
That's Paul's dogs for anyone who's listening on audio. I think a good bit to talk about is when Chris is getting the tour of the house when he first arrives, because there's quite a few wee moments in there. Was there anything you picked up?
The black mold.
Yeah. So what did you think that meant?
I thought it was just kind of a wee dig, like hide the secrets.
Do you know how if you're making? I don't make cakes, but do you know if you get like a mold for a cake?
Oh right, okay. Like
they're basically saying that the black people's bodies that they've abducted are the molds for putting the brains in.
See, I just thought it was a kind of slight against them, but obviously not. So that's great. You've been doing a lot of research, Colin.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of it I did find myself, but I did listen to a few extra reviews as well. That's what I should do next time, is write down which ones I looked at. And also in that intro scene, he mentions his mum, who becomes Georgina, and he says, "We've kept a little bit of her," and then the camera pans to her just standing in the kitchen.
All right. I don't remember that.
They basically kept her. That's the part of her that they kept, was her brain, I suppose.
Yeah.
So quite a big bit of the movie. And when I was rewatching it this time, it'd been a while since I'd watched it previously. I couldn't at first remember the importance of the hypnotherapy and the links to like Chris's mother and things like that. So that's quite an interesting bit to discuss.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that as well. But it's just a way that the mum used to subdue him, wasn't it?
Well,
Using
if
that
we
fear.
if we dial back to earlier in the film, see when they knock over the deer,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
and he's just standing staring at it. That was obviously linking back to when his mum died and he didn't do anything to help.
Yeah. But to be fair though, he's a wee kid, wasn't he? So like you can't blame him too much, but he was guilt ridden because he could have phoned the cops and they could have been out looking for her, but she got hit in a hit and run and was alive for a few hours and then died of exposure or something.
Yeah. So that obviously links in, and you know the whole bit when they're doing the hypnotherapy and he goes into the sunken place.
Yes.
That I think is to basically represents how he felt when he didn't help. Like he could see it but he couldn't do anything,
Right, okay.
which is also representative of the fact that the the bodies that have been taken over by the brains,
Yes.
they don't have that much control, so they're essentially in the sunken place because they
Mm-hmm.
can't really control what's going on.
So see this whole kind of like method of taking over bodies and stuff. So does that mean all these people can never get their photos taken, or look at lightning, or watch an electronic dance music video?
Or they'll get or they'll get a nosebleed. So they did mention that there is a wee bit of the person, is it the bit that links the brain to?
I think it's the bit that controls the nervous system. That's the only bit that's left.
Yeah, so that obviously when what's the guy's name? He's one name I didn't write down. Hayworth. What's his first name?
Andre Hayworth.
Andre. When Chris takes a photo of him, he the part of him that remained came back to the surface,
Mm-hmm.
and one interpretation is he's telling Chris to get out, like just get out of here, but it's obviously more of a warning to Chris to escape and get away from it all.
Yeah. Saying that's what we've all been shouting at him since the start of the movie. And to get out, get out of there.
I think just so we don't forget about it, Daniel Kaluuya's performance was outstanding, and I think he did win some awards for that. But he did. I think all the whole cast was great, but he was obviously a standout.
Yeah, he always had this kind of like wry smile when he was like going through things. He was uncomfortable, which I could imagine any one of us would do. Like if we were in that kind of situation, like we'd be like, ah.
I know. Yeah, it was very uncomfortable. He was also in an episode of Black Mirror as well. That's what else I've seen him in.
I've still not seen that. Still not seen that.
If you like this film, you'll definitely like that show.
Okay.
We haven't actually mentioned my character's name. My screen name today is Rod. I thought he was added some. I don't think the film was, although the subject matter is really serious. I think it was quite lighthearted a lot of the time, like the
Yeah,
tone. And
I think it did.
I think Rod contributed to that because when you start watching the film, if you don't have a clue what it's about, you might just think it's like a romantic comedy at the start.
Apart from the guy getting abducted.
Yeah, if you take that bit out,
Yeah,
and you just focus on them going to see the family. Like if you hadn't watched any trailers or anything like that, you wouldn't really know what was going on. But I thought Rod Williams, I thought he was hilarious the whole way through.
Yeah, it did add a good wee change of pace to it because it was quite funny when he kind of figures it all out. Oh, the things are going to be sex slaves or something. They're getting hypnotized to be sex slaves, and he goes to the police station.
And they're all just laughing at him, but it was obviously proved not 100% correct, but pretty correct. I thought it was just quite cool having somebody on the outside who was doing a bit of investigation into it as well.
Yep, those TSA agents are worth 3 detectives.
I think it's worth noting that I've totally forgot what I was going to say now. You say something. I had a really good point, but then it's disappeared. But I'll come back.
It's worth noting that he was a good friend.
He was a good friend. Something that I saw was that the original ending saw Chris get arrested for the crimes, but they decided to not go down what would have been like the normal ending route in this kind of film, and they made it that he didn't get arrested, and it was Rod that saved him instead.
Yeah, I forgot how it ended. When I was watching it again, I seen the sirens. And I was like, I bet it's that cop from the start, and he gets arrested. And I totally forgot it was Rod that comes to save the. Well, not comes to save the day, but comes to pick him up.
Yeah. How obviously it's a psychological thriller and it's very eerie and suspenseful the whole way through, and I thought the music was great as well. But how brutal does it get in the last half hour?
Yeah, it's very quick, isn't it? Like the final act.
I don't think you can blame Chris though for some of his actions.
Oh no, like if it was like I think if it was anyone and that had happened to them, you'd just be going crazy, wouldn't you?
Well, let's go through that sequence there. So I thought that was quite good. Is that Chris is quite he's a good protagonist in the sense is he's quite switched on. Like when he realised that there was a cotton in the armchair
Yeah,
and they put it in his ears so he didn't end up in the sunken place. You're about to sneeze.
I've got a sneeze coming. Just keep talking. It's fine.
So something that Jordan Peele himself has confirmed that the fact that Chris was picking cotton out of the chair to save himself from slavery was like a flip on what would usually happen to slaves. So that was intentional.
I see. I didn't think of that either. There's too much deep stuff for my simple brain here.
So the first murder essentially Chris commits is you think he commits. I don't know how Jeremy survived because he's lying on the ground and his head's gushing with blood, like it's all over the carpet. But it turns out it was a croquet ball he hit him with.
Yeah.
Because earlier in the film he's got the croquet bat, so that's some nice symbolism there. I really liked when he ran through the dad with the deer head.
Yeah. Although he bloody snuck up on him pretty well, running with a deer head up the corridor. Came out of nowhere.
How eerie was the bit though when the dean was preparing for the surgery and you see the head getting caved off like an egg?
Yeah. See, the worst thing about it too, that guy had his brain, not his brain cut open, but his head and skull cut open. Then he burned to death.
Yes.
Poor guy from Dodgeball. Can't remember his name.
So I think I actually wrote down his name. Jim Hudson's the character played by Stephen Root, and he was the art dealer. So he was going to be the recipient of
Chris's body.
And I thought the bit with the video was quite eerie, like when he's explaining essentially what's going to happen.
Yeah, I didn't like the video part. I don't know. I just thought I thought it looked stylish, but I didn't mind the bit where he was talking to Jim Hudson, but it was more the kind of introduction video. I didn't like that. I thought it was just a wee bit, don't know, a bit cheesy.
It reminded me
I wasn't too sure of.
It reminded me of Lost. There's quite a few videos like that, kind of introduction videos essentially in Lost.
Yeah. But you would have thought as well, like, we did not. I don't know. I would have thought they would be monitoring Chris when he was watching those videos to see how he was getting on or something. Yeah. So they might see him picking the cotton and putting it in his ear.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But it's a cool scene.
It was. Yeah.
It's quite interesting that it just. So obviously we've missed a bit. So Chris is wanting to leave, and Rose is seemingly wanting to go with him. But then when he's in Rose's room, he goes into the cupboard and he starts looking through the photo album.
Yeah, it was a bit conveniently left open, wasn't it, the door?
It was convenient, but it was quite a eerie scene when he's looking through all these pictures, and it turns out Rose also had a relationship of sorts with Walter and Georgina, which is a bit weird because they eventually have the brains of our grandparents.
Yeah. Maybe they didn't have that long lasting relationship. Maybe they never got to first base.
So yeah, that bit was quite intense, and I thought it was quite interesting. I thought Chris was exceptionally calm throughout this film, despite how he's been treated. It was quite harrowing to see how desperate he was when he went down the stairs and he was wanting the keys for the car, and Rose is just looking in her bag. That was a really loud boy racer car going past. And she's looking through the bag, and he just goes, "You don't have the keys, do you?" or something like that. And she's like, "Sorry, babe." That whole bit was quite intense.
I like the whole time he was going down. It's just like, have you got the keys? Rose, you got the keys. Rose, got the keys.
I know the tension was building.
And the whole family's just kind of converging on him.
Yeah. So I feel like we've talked about. Obviously, this is a film you could talk about for hours and probably not even scratch the surface of all the little details. But I feel like we've covered. I can't think of anything glaring at the moment unless there's anything else that you can think of.
I don't know. Maybe the change in Rose from like when she's going out with him until she turns into like
Oh,
the baddie.
she just becomes totally emotionless. Remember when she was on the phone to Rod?
Yeah, and she's trying to lure him in.
He was almost next. But did you notice that she changed her hair as soon as she revealed her true colours? She put it up in
Yeah,
a bun.
and she was like almost like clinical, like she was just like that, and she was sipping milk.
And at one point she said, "You were one of my favourites." So it'd be interesting to see whether she actually did have any genuine feelings for any of the many people that she abducted.
Yeah. By the way, I don't know. I was speaking to Scarlett earlier on. See Rose, and you know the guy who plays Superman just now, Henry Cavill.
Yeah,
They've got the exact same face.
did they?
The exact same face. Like I'm convinced they're brother and sister.
She did have the crazy eye, didn't she?
Aye, she did die, but she got her comeuppance. She's dead, didn't she?
Not confirmed.
Not confirmed. No, she was bleeding out the road, wasn't she? After
Yeah.
Walter shot her.
Yeah. I know a lot of time it's like leave because I would class this as a modern classic. Leave the classics alone, but it'd be quite interesting to see a sequel where Chris is dealing with the fallout from this, and maybe him and Rod are trying to bring the whole neighborhood down. Because although the Armitage family are mostly dead, there's still all their friends who some of them are in the
Yeah,
bodies.
because was not like a membership thing, so it was like the Kaluga. Was it the Kaluga Foundation or something like that?
Hmm. So, what would your thoughts be on a sequel, or do you think they should just leave it alone?
I just think leave it alone. Is because the kind of shock value of the big reveal of what was actually going on has been
Hmm.
gone, kind of thing. Unless we went
Yeah,
a totally different direction, but I think she just
yeah.
be
Now,
done with.
you're probably right, but I did enjoy it a lot. So I really hope Nope is a good one, and we should maybe go try and see it together if you fancy it.
Aye, when's it out? 22nd July.
22nd, so it's out next Friday. So we can maybe go maybe
The
next
week
weekend
after,
or early the following week.
probably early following week. Hoping to go on holiday.
Yeah,
Hoping to go on holiday.
it's a Seismic Cinema exclusive there.
I don't know. Benidorm,
Very,
romantic.
very nice. So, yeah, probably call it there then.
Do you
And
not want to do a rating of your modern classic?
oh, good shout. You always seem to be the one that reminds me of this. I'm just going right in with a 10. It's a 10 out of 10 for me. I think the amount of rewatchability and small details it has, and how enjoyable it was the first time around as well. I'm definitely going 10.
Okay, like it, like it. I don't know what I'll go for. I'd probably say an 8 for me, possibly.
An 8?
Like I do like it. It was a wee bit. I know it's like
Don't
let me
even say it. Don't even say it's slow. The pacing was great.
no, at the beginning it was a bit kind of like I know they're building up the relationship. It was a wee bit slow for me personally. And then I felt like they kind of wrapped up the end pretty quick, like him escaping and all that kind of stuff all happened in a very short space of time. Where I feel like it had drawn it out a wee bit more. I feel like it could have been more kind of meaningful dialogue between the characters, like as to why they were doing it or like kind of things like that. But it just kind of wrapped up without any I don't know any closure for me. But other than that, a good solid 8.
Your opinion, but I strongly disagree with you. I think this film was perfectly paced. I don't think you needed just that closure. Like I think part of its charm was it just kind of ended when his pal arrived and they went away. Like
Nah, I know that. I was meaning more like just because like he just escapes and kills everyone without anyone really saying a word to each other. Like I thought somebody might have like pleaded for something or wanted to say something meaningful, but instead it's just really Rose at the end where she's just like pretending to go back to loving him, and he leaves her alive, but because he doesn't want to kill her, basically.
I don't think there's a lot of good in the Armitages, so maybe they didn't have any remorse or any real other character traits.
Nah. It's just a wee thing that I quite like in films.
Eight seems a bit harsh, if I'm honest.
I'm harsh, man. You know me. You're the optimistic one.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. Right. This will be the first public falling out, I think. No questions. No questions today, unless you prepared any.
What was the name of Chris's dog?
Not sure. We said we'd finish about 10:30, and it's literally 10:30. This is the best time we've ever had, I think.
I know you've got 30 seconds to plug it.
Okay, so plugs. So we are on social media. We're on Facebook and Instagram. Not as busy, but Twitter is going really well. About in the 830s now. So make sure you follow and engage with us, and check out our review to come of us as well. We are on YouTube as Seismic Cinema, so please subscribe if you've checked out our content and hit the notification bell, like that, Paul. And we're also on all the other podcasting platforms. Spotify and Apple Podcasts seem to be the people's favorites, but we're also on Google, Anchor, Good Pods, Audible, Amazon Music, and I probably missed some as always. So hopefully you enjoyed listening to our review. So this is coming out on Thursday, the 14th of July. On Monday, we're going to release our latest ranking video, which is going to be of our favorite comedy movies. And we're going to be joined by a friend and a colleague of mine, Blair McComb, who's going to join us for that and make his Seismic Cinema debut. And I'm just amazed that we do a thing that people actually want to give up their time and come on. So that's quite a nice thing.
You kidding me on? I had to slip on my tenner.
I was just playing football with him and he didn't give me any money. So okay, so that was us, Paul. Catchphrase, slogan, tagline.
The power of escapism. I was trying to think of something wet in the spot. And
this film was a different. Maybe we would class this film as escapism. It didn't. It obviously had a real message and social commentary, but it really does get you thinking about. Although hopefully nothing like this happens in the real world, but yeah,
and the way the world's going, it probably is.
It's one that really gets you thinking. So we were Seismic Cinema. Thank you for checking out our review, and we'll see you next time.
Yep. Thank you. Cheers. Bye.